everyone. As you all know, it's hot out there. And you know what? Something else, when it's hot, things can happen. We're going to have a fun show today. Also, I'm really looking forward to bringing on my first guest. I got a newbie with me. I've got a newbie guest with me. We're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We'll share the show later on. My first guest is Ryan Boucher, and he is the owner of Dryer Vent Squad. Welcome to the show. I want you to tell everybody, first of all, obviously what you do, okay? Mm-hmm. But how in the heck do these dryer vents get so dirty in the first place?
It's a really good question because, you know, when we think of dryer vents, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know, there's a million things in a house as homeowners that we can see with our naked eye every day, all day. Oh, I got to tighten this, I got to paint that, I got to loosen this, I got to adjust this.
Yeah, nobody's thinking about any of that. So.
And when it comes to the dryer vent, you know, it's just behind the dryer, it's out of sight, out of mind. We put it in the washer, we put it in the dryer, we put it in the basket, we take it, we fold it. Mm-hmm. So we really don't think about what is involved in getting that lint out of the house. But really, what happens is, you know, we think of the dryer as a dry machine and the washer as the wet machine, but really they're both wet machines until right at the end when things are finally dry.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I guess when you put the clothes,
right?
There
you
go.
We don't think about it.
That's
you know?
Right. Where else? But on Networking Arizona, would you figure out?
that wet clothes are wet.
Wet clothes, exactly. Somebody has to talk about it.
So the thing is that as those clothes are drying and tumbling in the drum, that lint is coming out of the back of the dryer. It has moisture attached to it. There's still moisture on that lint, which is what allows it to stick to the sidewalls of that vent that's inside the walls of your house on its way out of the house. And then the heat from the dryer then kind of compounds that and then bakes or cooks that lint to the sidewalls of that vent. And so It kicks up and builds over time like enamel on a tooth, not enamel, I'm sorry, like tartar on a tooth.
Okay.
Okay, so it builds up over time, and even when you're cleaning that lint screen religiously, every time you do a load, you clean it. It does help mitigate, but it's not the end all be all by any stretch.
Right.
And so that's kind of how lint starts to build up in those systems just
so
over time.
What could happen?
Well, dryer vents are one of the leading causes of house fires. Usually it's electrical, fireplaces, and dryers are usually top the list of things that cause domestic house fires. And we don't have too many fireplaces in Arizona, and I'm not an electrician, so I'll stick with the dryer vents.
Now, I just want to ask you some questions,
Sure.
Okay? First of all, do you only do dryer vents?
Yes.
Okay, so this is strictly dryer vents.
Yes.
That's all we're talking about here. And everyone, if you own a home,
Has a dryer.
has a dryer,
Yes.
right?
That's correct.
And they can be very dangerous.
100%.
How often should they be serviced?
So national recommendations are that you get your dryer vents at least serviced and inspected annually.
Annually, okay.
So it's not to say that there will be lint accumulated in that amount of time. It really depends on the household.
Right, and how much you use it?
Correct. You
Okay.
know, so a family of 5 with 3 kids, 2 dogs, a cat, and a partridge in a pear tree are doing a lot more laundry than, say, a retired couple from Sun City who are only here 5 months out of the year.
Right.
And so each laundry room has a different load on it, pun intended.
Okay, sure. Uh-huh.
And so one thing that kind of sets us apart from other companies is our use of a digital camera to do a full internal inspection of that duct line.
So let's talk about that. That's pretty interesting. So you put a digital camera down the dryer vent?
Correct.
That's
yes.
kind of cool.
It is
What do you
pretty
see
cool.
when you go down there?
It's like a colonoscopy for the house. You know, you just don't
Okay,
have to drink that
I got
gross
to
stuff
repeat
first.
that one. That's a good one.
It's a lot more fun than a colonoscopy, though.
For you.
For everyone involved, I think.
Okay, really? Okay,
You know,
so let's talk about digital camera that goes down the dryer vent.
Mhm.
And what happens when you do that?
So things that we're looking for when we use that camera, we're obviously looking for clogs and clumps, but we're also looking to see if there's any evidence of pests or nests, as I like to say, whether that's birds, bugs, or rodents. You're also looking to see if there's any buildup of any mold or mildew, as it is a dark, kind of enclosed place with a lot of wet or moist lint moving through there. You know, the potential for mold and mildew build up.
You tried. It's not easy, folks. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I got it on the second try. That was all right.
You did.
And then the other thing that we're looking for as well is to inspect the duct line connections themselves. Houses shift and settle over time, and so we want to make sure that those connections are secure, up to code, and fire safe to provide high airflow and all that kind of thing. So these are all different things we're looking for on the camera.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look and see when you, and some of it could be yucky. right?
It can be yucky for sure.
But it's good to see because you will see where that buildup is happening, right?
And you'll also see if there's any vulnerabilities in the duct line, whether that's any splits, breaches, tears, any crushed sections of pipe, any open sections. There's been times where I put a camera in there and instead of seeing the inside of a pipe, I'm looking at a 2x4 inch insulation because
Wow.
there's a section of pipe missing.
Okay.
So there's no point in cleaning that one because we're going to repair it instead, which is something we can also do is rebuilds, repairs, and reroutes.
Wow. We're going to
so
talk about rebuild. Say that again.
rebuilds, repairs, and reroutes.
Okay, see, I write everything down, folks, when they're talking so I can repeat it. Reroutes, that's obviously where it's going the wrong way or something like that?
Yeah, sometimes maybe you'll have an old system, an older house, and they put on an addition to the house, and now we need to put that vent line somewhere else because there's a wall there now, or whatever might happen.
So, the first thing is if you haven't had your dryer vent only, we're talking about dryer vents, checked or serviced in a while, definitely give you a call.
Yes.
Right?
Some things that might indicate that your dryer's due for service is sometimes like there's a buildup of humidity or moisture in the laundry room itself, which can be an indicator that there's not enough airflow going through the duct line itself. Some of that is now getting backflowed back into the laundry room.
Okay.
Which can also affect air quality to some extent as well, especially if it's been a long time on the vent and it could be bringing back some mold or mildew spores back into the laundry room. Other indicators might be like the smell of burning clothing, singeing or something like that, where the lint itself might be getting a little too hot for comfort.
Scorching.
Indeed, yeah, no, it really can get scorched
Wow.
for sure. We're dealing with high temperatures in a small contained space. A duct line for a dryer vent is a little different than the air vents for a house. A dryer vent is only about 4 inches in diameter, whereas the air vents on a house for the regular air vents are closer to like 12 to 18 inches usually. And they're only designed to move air and dust and things, whereas a dryer vent is meant to move material.
Yeah, but if it's small, there's more
More likelihood for it to get clogged
trouble.
up.
Right.
It builds up a lot faster because it's a
Makes
smaller
sense.
environment, and there's more stuff, actual material, lint, poly, pet hair, human hair, a sock, a gift card, all the kind of things that are not going to end up in your air vents can end up in your dryer vent.
Now, you were going to do a special for anyone that tells them that you heard it on Networking Arizona.
Absolutely.
You're cutting $20 off the service. So, but you have to tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona. And his phone number, they are valley-wide. They do free in-home estimates, and they are fully insured. It's write this number down because you don't know when you're going to need it. Put it in your phone. 623-294-1826. The website is dryerventsquadaz.com. And I mean, to me, I think that it's really important for people who obviously we don't think about this stuff, right?
Correct.
Somebody just got a new home, right? When is the best time to call you? Anytime or just obviously you get a new one, you may not need one right away.
Sure. I mean, if it's a new build and you got a brand new dryer, call me next year.
Okay. But I'm talking about now.
But 9 times out of 10.
Because a lot of people don't always, move into a new build.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're moving into an older home, honestly, on move-in day or prior to moving in, is a
Oh, that
great
sounds like a great time.
Yeah. In fact, I often talk to realtors or apartment or condo management companies where if they're having a turnover, one owner is moving out, another one is moving in. It's an ideal time to get us in there. Because there's less stuff in the laundry room, less in the way, it goes a lot quicker.
A colonoscopy for your house. They do this. They're the only ones that do digital. Or did you say only?
It's not that we're the only ones. It's
But
just
one of the
that
only-
sets us apart.
that sets you
there
apart.
are other companies that will use a camera, but often they will maybe either charge extra for it and things like that. So
We're
we
gonna go-
include that as part of our basic service.
Okay, we're going to talk about that when we get back. Again, you could call them. They're valley-wide. They're offering $20 off of any service if you tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona. It's 623-294-1826. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. Okay, we're still live in the room, so we're going to keep on talking because we're live on Facebook. So when we come back, we'll re-talk about what we kind of talked about here. Okay. So let's talk about a story. Like, I know what I wanted to ask you before you do that. Do the fires generally happen when the dryer is on? And like say you leave, you know, you
Yeah,
go to
no,
that.
generally that's exactly
Is that
what's
when,
gonna
or is it
happen. That's
when
why
it's off?
No, it's going to happen while the dryer's running. for
Right,
sure,
so
yeah.
it's running, you go, you know what, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna be back in a
Never
couple
leave the
hours.
house while your dryer's running.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that,
Yes.
right?
No, never.
Wow. Because
Now,
if
is that
you,
going to stop people from doing it? No.
no,
But at
but
least
it's
I
a good
said
idea to say it, exactly.
That's right.
And a story. What is the weirdest thing that you've ever found down there? I mean, is that the right way to say that? Anyway,
Weirdest,
whatever.
most interesting, most unexpected. You could put it under any category.
Okay.
I got an answer for any one of those categories.
Okay.
Craziest thing I've ever found, because you expect to find lint buildup, nests, unfortunately some bodies sometimes of mice or birds.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it happens. It's unfortunate. It's
Yeah.
sad, but it happens.
Yeah, of course.
But I got to say, probably that you expect to see those things. So
So that's normal for you.
right. Like, so it wouldn't be crazy if I found that because you kind of expect it.
Right.
The funniest thing that ever happened was last year. I want to say it was actually right around August. I got a call the night before,
90 seconds.
and someone said that they were hearing scrabbling in the transition hose, which is the hose that connects the dryer to the wall. Something was in there. They said we can hear it scratching around. We don't know if it's a snake or a rat.
Make sure when you turn sideways, you just kind of got to tuck right into it.
Okay.
But overall, doing good, guys. Thank
All
you.
right. Come to find out it was a live bird.
Oh my God, fluttering
Which I'd
around.
much rather find a live one than a dead one.
Oh yeah.
For sure. So.
But you know, there are some things that can happen, and you're saying that no matter what, even if you're religiously cleaning it out,
The lint screen itself
the
and the
screen
sheet
itself,
metal.
yeah, is you know they have these long sticks, right? They have these
Yep.
long things. Is
With
it a
the brush.
good idea to do that,
Yes.
or is it worse?
No, that's a great.
It is a
idea.
good
Yep.
idea.
Yep.
Okay, can we sell them that, or
Yeah,
do you not want to say?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I recommend it to people all the time.
Okay.
A lot of people think that those brushes are meant to pull the lint up and out, but it's meant to push it down in towards where the vent line is and then get it blown out the back.
Okay. Okay. Oh, you offer other services? Okay.
We touched on that with the rebuilds, repairs.
Oh,
and
okay. Okay. Okay, so we're doing that. Thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
hold on
I'll
tight.
tell that
Ready to
bird
go.
story.
Okay.
If you want to.
So welcome back, everyone. We're talking dryer vents right now, and only dryer vents, and why it's so important that you do get them serviced at least annually. I love the fact that you say that people who maybe are moving into a new house, I mean a house that's not a new build, we're talking about a newer house, but
New to
that
them.
new to them, that it's a great time to call. Also, real estate agents, right? You said you work a lot with them.
Mhm.
And when you do, what do they do? Give your number as like a somebody that they like to use, or how does that
Sure,
work?
yeah. Sometimes it goes that we're listed with them as a preferred vendor.
Yeah, for
Other-
them, that's it.
Yeah, and other times, I've seen it go both ways, where sometimes the realtor will refer us to a tenant that rents from them, and
Mhm.
we'll go in and clean. Other times, they will actually foot that bill when they're trying to sell a house.
Okay.
Maybe it was caught during a home inspection or something that the vent needs attention, and they'll pay for that before someone moves in, whether it's a renter or a buyer.
Now, real quickly, I do want to talk real quickly before you tell your bird story. I do want to talk about.
Spoilers.
That's okay. That because it makes it fun. You are, but what sets you apart? But you say that you do this for every, every service that you do. So
the
it is
camera.
included. So
Yes.
I want you to talk about that real quickly.
Yeah, so the camera's really important because it helps us see what's in that duct line before we start working. As I was explaining, I think when we were talking a little bit earlier, a prime example that I use a lot is older houses in like Sun City and things like that that were built in the 60s, 70s, 80s. They have a lot of times older duct lines that are what's called flex line, which is a ridged, flexible duct line that runs through rather than the 26 or 28 gauge hard pipe that we use these days. It helped to kind of subvert and get around existing conduits, plumbing, electrical, that kind of stuff. The hazard being is that I use a stainless steel brush that's attached to a vacuum with a HEPA filter to clean everything out. rather than blowing it out the top of the house or out the side, which is very cinematic when you see ads that they show that lint plume going out the top. It does look very cool on camera, but it's not very sanitary because there's a lot of junk in that lint that you don't want getting all over your lawn or your yard or in your pool
Makes
or in your
sense.
neighbor's lawn.
So you watch for that too.
We keep everything very contained, very sanitary. And with that, but with that said, using that camera, sometimes you'll see older duct line that has what's called flex line. And if I were to use my stainless steel brush to clean that out without putting a camera in there first, I would shred that duct line, and now I'm replacing your duct line instead of cleaning it.
Okay.
With a camera, I can see that it's an older duct line. I will go out to my van, I'll get a softer vinyl brush, and we can still clean that vent up. We're going to do it appropriately and safely to protect your equipment and your property.
Tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona. You get $20 off any service. They also do rebuilds, repairs, and reroutes as well. They are valley-wide. They are licensed. I'm sorry. Yeah, they are insured, fully insured. They do free in-home estimates. I'll get it out. It's 623-294-1826. Tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona, and you're getting that $20 off your service. And now the website is dryerventsquadaz.com. You can also go there and check them out as well. Story.
You want my story about the bird?
Well, yeah. Spoiler
So,
alert.
This is about a year ago. As far as like craziest things I've ever seen, you know, like I was telling you, extreme lint buildup is you see crazy amounts of extreme lint buildup and pests and nests and that kind of thing, but it's more expected, so I don't qualify that as like the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's just on a spectrum of what I normally see. But this one time I did have a crazy call last year. Someone called me the night before and said that they had something scrabbling around inside their transition hose, which is the hose that connects the back of the dryer to the wall, to the vent system. And there was something alive inside the hose. So I moved some appointments and I got there early the next morning. And come to find out there was a bird that had gotten in through the roof vent above the house. It was a one-story. And had gotten down and trapped inside the transition hose for the whole night. It was a woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, he got it, and he punched holes in that thing. He did his best to get out of that. That thing was turned into Swiss cheese, but he wasn't able to get out of it. So what I ended up doing was compressing the whole hose with the bird in it. I got it on film. I just haven't edited it.
Oh,
yet
how
to
cool.
post it. Yeah,
You got to post
I do
that.
have some footage
That's
of it. I
really
just got to
neat.
get it on my Facebook page. But I compressed the whole hose with him in it. I put a trash bag around the whole thing, disconnected the hose, brought it all outside, and then just kind of dumped him out of the hose. And he flew away. His wing was fine. His legs weren't. So it's the first time I've done live animal removal, but you could definitely add that to my repertoire now as live
That's
animal
awesome.
rescue.
Now again, valley-wide, and here's the thing: if these should be done annually. This is
Yes.
the main thing. And if you do, tell them again some of the things that you might see that you might be that alerts you for the fact that it could be time to do it for sure now.
Basic things that kind of will have you kind of thinking maybe it's time to get your system at least inspected and assessed, get a camera in there and see what's going on, is if you're experiencing longer than usual dry times. You know, you're drying those towels and instead of taking an hour, it's taking 2 or 3 hours. It's time to get that vent looked at. If you're smelling any sense of singeing, scorching, or burning, that could be lint that's starting to get ignited inside either your washer, your dryer, or the vent line itself. So smells like that. If it's smelling kind of musty or mildewy in the room, that can indicate a lack of airflow, because that moist air that comes out of the dryer, you got the moisture of the clothes plus the heat of the dryer gives you a hot, moist airflow.
Room for fire.
And when you have clogged in that vent, if that's got a clog in it, then that moist air has nowhere to go, so it's going to backflow back into the laundry room, so you may smell that or get a sense of that higher humidity or moisture in the room. So those are a couple indicators, but really it's important to look at getting your system serviced. I just had it done 3 years ago. I look at it more like taking your car in for an emissions inspection, right? We bring our car in every year or two to get emissions. They connect everything, they hook it all up to the machines, you pay your $50 or whatever. And sometimes you need to fix something, sometimes you don't, but you got to hook it up and have it all inspected and checked out just the same.
To me, I
It's
think that
preventive.
certain things are just stuff you got to do.
Correct.
Right? And so, again, annually is the best thing, he says. They do work valley-wide. They're offering, if you tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona, $20 off any service. So it's not just getting the dryer vent service, but it's also that if you need a rebuild, repairs, or reroutes as well. Again, they are fully insured. They do free in-home estimates. Again, Valley-wide, you can write this number down. It's 623-294-1826. The website is DryerVentSquadAZ.com. Tell them you heard it on Networking Arizona. And sometimes people write things down and they put a number on their refrigerator like, oh yeah, I got to do that. Yeah, or I'll get to that. You know, so even if it's not today, but please call as soon as possible. Tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona so that you get that $20 off any service. Again, 623-294-1826. So I asked you a question that during the break when we were on Facebook Land, I call it Facebook Land out there, and I said, well, do the fires generally happen, obviously, you know, while they are on or while they are off? And you said
It's going to happen while the dryer's running.
right.
Yep,
And I said, so, you know, a lot of people out there, they put the dry, you know, their clothes in the dryer, go, I'm going to go to the market, I'll come back or whatever.
Yep.
A couple hours later, and boom,
Big
what?
no, yeah, never leave the house with the dryer running. Same goes for the washer, really. You're just as likely to come home to a flooded laundry room as you are to a burnt
True.
down laundry room. So anytime you have an appliance like that, whether it's the oven, the dryer, the washing machine, the microwave, you really should stay home anyways, just to make sure that everything is going according to
Right,
plan.
right. You know, you don't want to come home to a scorching home.
No,
Right.
I mean, honestly, house fires has got to be one of the most tragic things that any person can
How
experience.
fast, let me ask you this, you
Sure.
know, because this is a good question. God forbid somebody is at home or even not, whatever, how fast do they spread?
How flammable is lint, right?
Yeah.
To put it in an interesting way, to kind of put it in perspective. Lint is so flammable, you know, standard dryer room lint, that it's a camping hack. To a lot of people will keep their lint when they clean out their lint stream. They collect their lint, they stuff it into old toilet paper rolls, and will fill up a gallon bag with old toilet paper rolls that are stuffed with lint and use those as starter logs when they go camping.
That's why I love my show.
That's how fast lint can catch on fire. You can literally put Duraflame out of business just by stuffing old toilet paper rolls with lint.
That's really amazing. But the information is what I love about my show the most. And here's the deal, folks. We do put our heads in the sand with certain things, and one of them is this. So, you know, that's when you hear these things, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone that you know, just moving into a house, it's a great time to do it. But if you haven't done it in a while, get it done. So
even if you've been there for 20 years, we're happy to help you move anything we need to out of that laundry room. If there's stuff on the dryer, around the dryer, behind the dryer, inside the dryer, we'll get it out of there. We'll pull that dryer forward. We're going to clean up the whole dryer as well. We don't just clean the duct line. We clean all the vents on the rear of the dryer, the duct that runs through the dryer, the lint trench that's below the lint screen on front loading dryers. We clean up the floor and walls around, behind, and underneath the dryer. Your laundry room's going to be spotless by the time we leave.
tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona. You're getting $20 off any of the services because they do also do rebuilds, repairs, and reroutes. Again, they're valley-wide. Their number is, write it down, 623-294-1826. They do free in-home estimates. They are fully insured. They say never leave the house with that dryer on. And they are the what makes them and sets them apart, that comes with every one of their services, is that they put that digital camera down to the vents. So that's what they do different. Again, write the number down. Tell them that you heard it on Networking Arizona. You're going to get $20 off any of the service. It's 623-294-1826.